It is 6:04 p.m. Will you please join me for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm facing the flag over here. All right, good evening. We're going to go right into the meat of the meeting to discuss the building project. So do you want to move forward, Dr. Silver? Or we're going to move right to the building committee. So Keith, do you mind explaining the project and what we're going to discuss moving forward for the bid?
Sure. The building committee met on Tuesday and went over the options. We were leaning towards option 2 for a couple of reasons, and we actually added a few things to option 2 to make it a little better package. We thought it has 5 components. It is the home and careers room renovations, cardio fitness stage renovations, weight room renovations, first floor ceiling replacement, and toilet renovations, which we thought if we could purchase all of the material for all of the bathrooms and just approve all of them, but they would do whatever they could do, whether maybe, we're hoping maybe half of the, I believe, approximately 19 bathrooms on a priority list created by maintenance and admin. And we didn't think, for a couple of reasons, we wouldn't add the this room, the district office room, or the media room, because the architects didn't think it would make the bid in time with any changes, because the media center is going to need some adjustment, and this room was a little bit in question. So it wouldn't make this round, and it wouldn't get done until 2023. So we just thought, rather than go too far with it, let's make an attractive package for next year and see where it goes. It's also a money factor with the increased costs of material and labor. We may come up a little short to complete the last phase, would be the 3rd phase, and we may have to deal with that when we see what the 2nd phase bid ends up being. And I think that was really about it. If anyone wants to jump in and.
I just have a question. So we will potentially bid all the materials and supplies for all the bathrooms throughout the building, but only include within the bid half of the bathrooms to complete the work.
Correct, because
Okay.
that would secure all the material, and we wouldn't have to worry about shortages for the 3rd phase. And they just can't get all the bathrooms done in 1 year. There's only so many they can do. But if we have the material, there's always, room for another bathroom if there's time.
In addition to that, adding the bathrooms to the other phase would make it more attractive to the potential bidders.
So we'll identify now which bathrooms we're going to do in this bid, or are we going to wait until later to figure out which bathrooms we're going to start with and which we're going to finish?
We discussed with Jesse Bell that he would come up with a list in a priority order that what needs to be done, and then I guess admin would weigh in on the strategic locations of those bathrooms, so we have bathrooms everywhere, and not a whole wing out at a circle.
Right,
So-
that was my concern.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna have to be a joint decision,
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, Jesse and Mike had come up with a list of priority bathrooms, 10 priority bathrooms that were they thought were in the worst shape. Balanced against that, as Keith just mentioned, is you need a certain number of seats available for a certain population and minimal, maximum distances between locations. So it's going to have to be this sort of, they'll have to go through and kind of plan, and that's really what Corey will do.
Okay.
He's trying to figure out which we can do when. The one thing, I don't want to contradict you, but I mentioned to Dave Phelps about buying all the bath material. And he sent me an email, said, well, we don't think that's a great idea, because for a few reasons. He said any warranties applied to these stored materials will be started when the materials are turned over. I don't know what kind of warranties there are on toilets and sinks, but in any event. And if there were panels included, the divider panels included in the pre-purchase, they would need to be fabricated whenever the district chose to implement that install. So what they're saying right now is, when they think they can get 10 bathrooms done within next summer and the summer after, buy the materials for the 10 bathrooms and put the others off. Sorry, I didn't.
No, that's fine. I mean, I don't think storing tile or sinks, it's not, that's pretty durable stuff. I don't, unless it gets damaged or something, I don't see it going bad, like have a shelf life. So
I didn't either.
no, that's true. I didn't have that.
So, well, what made the committee lean towards 2 versus 1? What
Because
didn't
it
like
seemed
the-
that one was spilling over into 2023,
So
which
is the
would,
time.
which would have, we're hoping we can get this package completed and we'd be left with a cluster of bathrooms and the first and second floor of this, of where we are right now. And speaking with the contractors, they thought that was doable and attractive package, to keep everyone interested. So I think we're hoping to keep our contractors we have on site rather than move and restage all new people's equipment and storage. And so we're trying to hopefully keep the people we have here.
Yeah, there's also a fair amount of structural work that has to be done in this space, depending on what modifications are made upstairs. And so if they're going to make changes up there, they have to do all the architectural and engineering work for this space. And we've never got out to bid in time to do work next summer.
I think the work that the building committee did is great. I appreciate it. I agree with the approach that you're taking. I like the idea of avoiding any resubmittals to state ed with timelines of the way things are. Let's avoid that. That's a great idea. Did Jesse, was he privy to the idea of stockpiling stuff on site? Did he think there was a storage issue, or was he on board with that, or
He was on board.
he thought it was, okay?
He seemed to say, we'll find someplace for it.
Right. My only concern would be just, you just gotta go through it all, make sure we have it all, because once, a year goes by and, well, these aren't the right color toilets, or these aren't the right
Can't
color
match.
tile, these things don't match, just make sure, once everything's delivered, we'll inspect them and make sure it's quality, and I'm fine, as long as it's not an issue to have it on site with, space or, I'm fine with that approach, I'd like to have all the materials on hand before we destroy anything after the nightmare of this summer.
Right.
Right.
So,
No,
I
I
think
agree.
there may have been some concerns about buying half the material. Would the same consistency of the material be available the third year?
Right,
And then we'd have mixed and match kind of
yeah,
material.
we have enough of that on the outside, let's try and keep it on the inside.
So I think that was the thought.
Yeah,
We have 9 different finishes on the outside of our building.
And the cost, I think if the costs keep going up and we buy this material up front and store it, maybe we'll save some money in the back end.
and I think in terms of timing, the architects felt that, bathrooms will take the full 14 or 15 months from, this June until the following summer. The weight room, cardio space, those things could be done within the summer. And the home and careers room is going to be like the science room. It's going to stretch out into the fall because there's all the casework that goes in there, and they can't order that until they do field measurements, which they can't do until they demo the room. So, that's just going to be one that we'll have to find swing space for her. Dave and I will talk to her about her curriculum sequencing and what courses she'll teach in the fall, because if she doesn't have to teach cooking courses in the fall, then it doesn't matter. Because she'll have half the room, just like the science teachers did, or we can move her into this space.
I also think that the casework for the home and careers will probably play out the way it did with the science rooms. That will come in a little after the fact, after, we missed the bell for school. Just because of the measurements don't get taken until later, till everything's been stripped out, and then whatever the delay is for that material to show up seems to be quite a while. So I think the rest of it will be done over the summer, and then we'll do a few bathrooms that, again, are strategically picked during school on off hours, second shift, third shift, whatever. And try to have as little disruption as possible while students are in the building.
So my other question is, with the bathrooms, we're gonna have probably an asbestos abatement now with any of that work? Like, do we have to worry about having people here in the building while we do tile work or rip tiles out, or?
I think they want to identify that abatement up front and get it out during the summer.
Okay.
One idea that, when you were discussing the home and careers room about, being a delay when you go into a new year, could we do the demolition at the end of the year? The kids start winding down basically come Memorial Day, things are starting to taper. Would it be easier to get, maybe second shift demoing the space and have the kids transition to a different space at the tail end of a year, instead of delaying them when they're kind of trying to hit the ground running going into a new year?
I'll ask Corey and see.
Just an idea.
Or
Yeah.
even Jesse, I mean, is it something that Jesse's guys could?
No, because it would be part of the contract.
Part of
So
the
you couldn't,
contract.
the contractors wouldn't want to come into a space that's
Trying to
been,
get it moving.
but yeah, I'll talk to him, but, that's one of the reasons why we have construction managers, is to help do that scheduling for us, just like phasing the bathrooms. And that's, you can say, here are the number of bathrooms we want done. You can start in this June, and we can have you done by next, the end of the summer of '23. God. And then it's up to them to sort out which to do and in what order.
I just had one question too, on the ceiling replacement. Cause I'm just trying to follow here, which ceiling was added to the scope?
The yellow one.
Yeah, where is that located?
Right where it shows it.
Tech suite.
Oh, yeah, that's right there.
It's the tech suite upstairs,
By the old theater?
past the gym,
Uh-huh.
where Aaron and all the techs are up there behind the stage.
Oh, so old music room,
Yeah.
right? That would be
Yeah,
the old
right
music
in the
room?
yellow space, you see the little staircase that
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
up, that's the
Okay.
hallway up here. It's kind of through the back wall of the stage.
Anybody else have any other questions?
If we decide on an option, what's the process from this point forward? Like, how does the timeline look for the next set of public notice?
The architects and Corey will be crazed. They'll go through, the architects will go through the plans, make whatever revisions need to be made. Since they're minor revisions, they think even the home and careers room, removing the closet and putting it in cabinetry, is not a major revision, so they'll be able to get that through state ed pretty quickly. Lichase has to re-estimate and put the bid packages together. So getting that all out on the street within the next, by Thanksgiving, is going to really tie them up and keep them really busy. Then they'll establish the bid window, and then they'll be answering questions from bidders and doing all that stuff, fun stuff through Christmas, and then in the beginning of January vetting, end of December, beginning of January, vetting the bids and bringing it to the board with recommendations for who to award the bids to. So that's really it. Other than that, there's not really going to be time for them to do anything, and we're just sort of sitting, waiting for the bid packages, so
And because we had SED approval, it should move pretty quickly from there, right?
that's the idea.
Any other questions?
We did say that for the next third phase, that review will start early in the year to give us enough time that we don't miss, and the architects enough lead time to, if there are any adjustments, they have plenty of time to get it to the state and approved and whatever, if that's necessary.
All right. Well, thank you very much, the building committee, because you put a lot of time and effort into this and many meetings, and I appreciate the feedback and you guys keeping us in the loop, so. I think we have to have a resolution to move forward. So I think you have the resolution, Pete. Okay. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the Board Building Committee, the Board of Education approves Phase 2 of the 2019 capital project, including the Home and Careers Room renovations, cardio fitness stage renovations, weight room renovations, first floor ceiling replacement, and toilet room renovations. So I need a motion and a second. Motion Joe, second Randy. Any discussion? Please
Can we
proceed.
just specify if we're doing all of the materials, or only half the materials that would be needed for this bathroom set in the scope?
I don't think so. I think, just like we're not specifying the number of bathrooms, we're just saying toilet renovations. The architects and Corey will keep us in the loop as they're doing the planning and let us know what's feasible.
Yeah, it's pretty open-ended, so. All right, please proceed to vote yes by raising your right hand. Okay, that is unanimous, Norma. I do not believe we have any other items to discuss. So we reached the part of the meeting for public comment session for items that are on the agenda, which we had the building project that was on the agenda. Any items of new business was the construction project resolution. So at this point, you have to sign in? Okay, we have a request to speak at the board meeting from Ms. Justine Scully in regards to follow-up topic from the prior meeting.
Yes, cardiac relief clearance form from the medical director. So I was just following up. I have some information that can be all linked together, and hopefully we can go over this.
Is this regarding your child
This is, yes,
specifically?
yes. And I do have some information to touch on my son as well.
All right. A motion that we go into an executive session
For purposes,
for purposes of discussing student issue,
all right, do we need a motion?
personal student issue.
We need a motion to,
Yeah.
all right, we need a motion in a second?
Motion.
Motion Pat, second Randy. I don't believe there's anything to move forward on as far as business after that, correct? I don't believe so. So at this point, we're not going to resume business after our executive session. So I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion Joe, second Pat. Please proceed to vote by raising your right hand. Okay, that is unanimous. All right, so it's 6:23. We're going to conclude this meeting. Thank you, Tri Valley.